Thank you for watching Meatsauce Monty. I'm Matt Montgomery. He's Paul Meatsauce Lambert. As you can see, a very special Christmas edition. Hall of Famer John Randle with us. Give a little applause there.
Hey.
Yes. One of the greatest Vikings of all time. You were with us last year. You're with us again this year. Special show. Normally our guests we put in the middle. We got you a whole half hour.
All right.
So thanks for being here.
My pleasure to be here.
We got to thank Mystic Lake for bringing John Randle.
Nice to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you.
I think everybody knows you're close personal friends. Paul's going to be like, eh. John's going to be like, eh. Yeah. Golfing buddies?
May have seen him a few times.
Just a few?
Yeah.
Real friends right here.
Oh, the real friend out there? Paul's or John's?
I don't claim that guy.
All right. All right. Normal show, we talk Vikings. Obviously, you can jump in, say whatever you want about this season. We're coming off that 41-17 win over Miami. Both Paul and I picked that the Vikings would win last week. Was there ever any doubt that they were going to win that game?
No, I believe that they were going to win it too. I kind of looked at Miami as a very simple team.
Yeah.
You know, quarterback drops back 5-6 yards, and but it didn't. Besides their running back, I didn't really see them as that big of a threat to us. But another way of looking at it for our Minnesota Vikings, winning that game really kind of gave us the momentum back. Mm-hmm. And it really kind of, I think, say this time of the year in December, really catapulted us in the right direction too.
When you see a coaching change mid-season, obviously on the offensive side of the ball, and we've talked to a couple people about it, and you not only is it, well, coaches is his job, you can't fire the players, but that has to be a message sent to the players that you may, not you, but you've caused somebody to lose their job.
Yeah, it kind of can go either way. You know, when you fire a position coach, a lot of the players who believe in that coach could almost like you fired them because they are believe in that guy, and they could either play bad or all of a sudden play better. And I think for the Vikings overall, firing that coach really kind of catapulted them also in believing that. For instance, Kyle Rudolph, we didn't hear much about Kyle Rudolph this year, and as for a player, he's a big factor in the Vikings, and I think changing up that coaching staff really helped him. Is really going to help him out, and I think for the players, they all believe that too.
Yeah. We also saw the offensive line have a good game, but then as you said, it can go either way. Last year there was that rumor that Cincinnati's head coach Marvin Lewis is going to get fired. They literally got off the plane and they wanted nothing to do with it. So it can go the other way where you got guys that are going, whatever, this season's done with anyway. Who really cares? The head coach is going to get fired even though he ended up not getting fired. So it can, as you said, it can go either way.
Yeah, it can really, it's time to, football season, people talk about October when teams getting hot. But for me, October really isn't the month to get hot. It's December. And for sometimes when you fire a coach or you have a player change out there, it really can get guys fired up and get them on the right track. And, for us, getting rid of them, we've heard from Zimmer and other players talking about it, that for them, it really kind of gives them more confidence because I think the offense was lacking in confidence. Getting rid of his coach gave him some confidence.
So with the addition with Stefanski being promoted last week, 40 carries, 220 rushing yards, Kirk Cousins, 14 of 21 passing attempts, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, but the one interception that was a pick 6. Do you see that play calling being so heavy with the run, that's exactly what Zim was waiting for?
I think so, because for our offense, having that run game really slows that opposing defense down because when you become one-dimensional, they kind of know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. But when you have that run game, when you say you do a fake handoff, it makes those linebackers believe that you're going to hand it off, and it slows them up. So it opens up the offense, and for us, I think it's for our running game. Yeah. We can see it against Miami, and I think it's just going to go in the right direction and giving us more confidence as the season finishes up.
Not to jump around too much, but the one-dimensional you talk about, is that the problem that LA is facing right now? Because the Rams, they looked unstoppable earlier in the year. Their last couple games, their offense has sputtered, and people are saying, just take away the deep pass, try to isolate Gurley, and they're really not putting up a whole lot of points.
Well, for the Rams, for them, you got Aaron Donaldson over there, and beginning of the season,
Does he remind you of a young you?
Yeah, he does.
There you go. All right.
And I would be waiting to see somebody start slide protection towards him.
He's
and they
getting double all the
yeah,
time.
so they started sliding that double team towards him. So now Domikasu got to all of a sudden start penetrating that A gap or start running some triple games, having that defensive end come around and back in that A gap to change it up. But for them, I think that defense is playing well, but that defense, you can't do it all by yourself, and becoming one-dimensional for them, for the Rams, hopefully they can change it up. But I know that they're having some issues with their running back. He's a little banged up, and but having him come back would be great for him.
Well, you see Aaron Donald play in it, even though that Kansas City game was huge scoring. Aaron Donald was unstoppable.
Yes.
He was unstoppable.
He changed the game.
You can't block him.
Yeah,
And
he's
unblockable.
He's unblockable, and it changed the game up because they weren't just scoring on offense; they were scoring on defense. And all of a sudden, when you got Aaron Donald doing what he's doing, all of a sudden that frees up other people because you see the quarterback is not looking downfield; he's trying to figure out where Aaron Donaldson is, and all of a sudden going, "Okay, he's
gonna get
here,"
hit.
and that changes the game up.
What's his move? Is he use that bull rush?
No, for him. He's got more of he has a little bit of a bull rush, but for him, it's that little stutter move that he uses, where he's kind of stutters his feet, makes the offensive lineman think he's coming with a bull, and the offensive lineman sets because he's looking for that bull, and he goes around the corner.
Is that similar? Okay, you said unblockable. Brett Favre called you unblockable.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to say does that remind you of you, but you said he's got different techniques. You had different you weren't just a speed guy. You weren't just like a put your arm out, extend, and go around. You could go through, you could go around. I mean, obviously the versatility, it worked for you.
It does. I mean, sometimes when you're facing an offensive lineman, sometimes you got a guy who's more of say I call him a setter, who's sitting down, looking for the bull rush. So when you're able to all of a sudden change it up, give him a bull rush, and all of a sudden come out of that bull rush and come with a swim move, it really messes the offensive lineman up.
It's all about the balance. If he's sitting back and then he thinks you're coming and you're not, and he's leaning, and then you're just over him.
Yeah, and when you watch Aaron Donaldson, how he's working that B gap, I mean, he's so wide in there, and he's making that guard have to overextend. And when you get that guard to turn those shoulders, and he's done.
How about a guy I know you're super proud of, and Daniil Hunter? I know you've had some conversations with him. The guys on the team call him creative player because he looks like a Madden creative player.
He does.
But he is, I mean, he's got, the thing about him, the knock on him in college was he's got one move.
Yeah.
And as you and I have had this conversation multiple times, they don't practice the bull rush in practice anymore.
Yeah,
and these offensive linemen don't see it coming. And Daniil Hunter has got that bull rush down. I mean, he's unstoppable.
He's unstoppable. And you know what the unique thing about Daniil is? And I've watched pass rushers for years, and because I still love the game. And you got J.J. Watt, who always stays on the left side. You had Michael Strahan was on the left side, and you got guys who can only play one side. And you watch Daniil, he can play both sides. And when you got a guy that can do that, that really, for an offensive lineman, you got guys looking at him going, I hope he doesn't come to my side. And for him, he's so talented, but he's so quick. And a guy coming from LSU, you really don't think of big-time pass rushers coming out of LSU.
Yeah.
But here's a guy who's I think for the Vikings, definitely for me reminds me of I want to say like a Reggie White because man, you look at those arms.
Oh
It just looks like like he was just like if you design the ultimate defensive end, Daniil Hunter would be that guy.
He looks fake.
Yeah, he does. It's just unbelievable.
And he's a humble individual.
He is,
He's a great guy.
He's also a Pro Bowler along with Harrison Smith,
Sure is.
Anthony Barr, and Adam Thielen. Obviously, those accolades seem deserved for those four guys.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, you go with Thielen, the guy that nobody really thought was supposed to be there. And for me, myself, coming up with that same type of feeling, it's unbelievable because when you're a guy that people don't think and the organization don't see you as the guy that's going to make it, and when you get a chance to just show your skills, and you carry a little chip on your shoulder, because you like, hey, I deserve it. I got here, I'm here, and I'm very thrilled and happy for him.
Another great player this week, Dalvin Cook, career high 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. He gets the NFC Offensive Player of the Week. Do you think that was obviously Dalvin has not had the best season, injury, all that stuff. It seems like it really worked this last week. Maybe that's Stefanski, maybe it's the play calling, maybe it was just his time.
Well, I tell you what, for me, I was the guy, I announced his name in the draft, I picked him, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna say
there
that.
you go.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
But he was dominant, man. He was dominant in college. The only reason he didn't get drafted any higher was because of some off-the-field issues. But, man, you go back and you watch that Miami-Florida State game, he destroyed Miami. I mean, he's got it in him to be a dominant player. And once you get him around that edge, you can't catch him.
That
He's
spin
great.
move that he had on the touchdown
Sweet.
run, it looked like
Yeah.
a video game. He had
Yeah.
everybody going this way
Yeah.
and then just whoop, right
Yeah.
back the other way. This week we're taking on Detroit. Playoffs are looming. We got 2 weeks to go. Is there anything to worry about with Detroit? I mean, we'll save our picks and we'll say our goodbye at the end of the show as we do every week. But it just seems like obviously you got to play the game. You got to go on the road. It's Detroit. It's a division rival, I guess you
Yeah.
could say, but they seem to have nothing to play for. A few key injuries. Matthew Stafford, probably not 100%, sore back. How do we get ready for the game in Detroit so we don't fall asleep?
Well, that's the thing about it. You're playing a team that doesn't have anything to lose. To me, those are teams that you have to be careful with. You know, you're playing in Detroit, and I've heard a couple guys talk about this on the radio, and
Hopefully not Paul.
No, that wasn't
He's-
Paul.
He said
But-
very good things.
No, but guys always say about from other teams is we may not be going to the playoffs, so why not try to prevent some other team from not going to the playoffs? So for me, they scare me. It's in Detroit, and that's another part about it. They play well in Detroit, but I think we're going into the right situation where we go out there from the first quarter through the fourth quarter, treat them as if they were 13-0, go in there and do our job and complete it, come on back to Minnesota.
You played on obviously one of the best Vikings teams of all time, but you know in most situations if you go in against a team that's a wounded duck, quote unquote, you can punch them in the mouth and you can get them to quit, right?
Yes.
I mean, you can get them to quarter or two in just to go, all right. I mean,
Yeah.
they're vacationing in the Bahamas in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I mean, you can eventually get them to
Holidays,
just go,
yeah.
I've had enough, you know?
But you want to do that early.
Yeah.
Because that's when you want to do that. You don't want to try to do that third, fourth quarter, because if you give a team like that hope,
Yeah.
that's the wrong thing you want to
wanna
send.
hang
That
on.
message, wrong message you want to send, because all of a sudden they believe, hey guys, you know what? We can do this.
Yeah,
We can,
Buffalo week 2.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh. Everson Griffin wins the Ed Block Courage Award. Obviously, that was a tough season for him. Stepped away for 5 weeks. Had some stuff to deal with off the field, but he's back. He seems to be playing really well.
yeah, he is. And myself, I was fortunate enough to win the Edge Block Courage Award, and it's an unbelievable award that's being picked by your teammates. And for him, I think he's a leader on our defense, and for him to receive this award really shows that the team supports him. And I think at this time, he was probably needing a lot of support, and that's really good for him. And but I think he hasn't given up. He's come back. He's playing, and I think it's just some good things to come from him continuing on to play.
Yeah, it's good to see him, I mean, there were a lot of people that thought maybe he wouldn't come back.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, the issues that he was dealing with, serious, any mental health issues, serious. But, yeah, for his teammates to give him this and his peers in general, just to say, yeah, you're deserving of this award's a great thing.
Yeah, it is.
All right, quick TV timeout. We got some business to take care of. Pints and Pigskins, Thursdays to Sundays all season long from noon to 6. Throw your best spiral. You can get up to $25 free slot play. You could win $10,000 free slot play if you are the season's highest single-day scorer. Game day pick and play from 7 to 11:45 a.m. Sundays all season long. Get in the game. Show up here. Get your picks in at Mystic Lake or at Little Six. Country music, you're a fan. Granger Smith and Rodney Atkins coming Sunday, December 30th, 8 p.m. in the Mystic Showroom. Also, if you're not doing anything on New Year's Eve, December 31st from 8 p.m. to 2 a.m., the Glow Pop-Up Lounge right here. That's Monday, December 31st at Mystic Lake Grand Ballroom. And Third Eye Blind with special guest Step Rockets. That'll be Monday, December 31st. New Year's Eve, spend it from 8 p.m. to whenever you want to stay, as long as you can, here in the Mystic Showroom. Going back to Chris Carter. In your era, in the 90s, were you the voice of the team on defense and the character on defense, and was he the leader and the presence on offense?
Yes, we were. We were. Chris was the guy. He was kind of like the sheriff. I was kind of like the deputy. But
Like Tombstone.
yeah, but being around Chris was just unbelievable. I mean, you watch the guy in practice who treated practice just like a game. He
So
was
did
like-
you.
Yeah,
At
I
least
did
you-
too.
yeah, I mean,
but
that's-
just to watch a receiver do it and how you could just follow Chris and see the things that he did in practice.
Yeah.
Working on the one-handed catch, standing on the sidelines, catching the ball.
Doing the tiptoeing.
Yeah,
and all that.
tiptoe. And
Yeah.
it's just amazing and demanding that you treat practice like it was a game and saying that he wanted from the guys exactly what he wanted from himself. And I think for me, I was fortunate to be around a lot of guys like that with Chris, the Randle McDaniel, and the Gary Zimmerman, the Warren Moon, and Randy Moss. And I was very fortunate to be around those guys, and I really appreciated it.
Did you think in your career where you're playing with these guys and you're like, yeah, these guys are great, this is cool, this is like a cool experience, but then did you realize now, 15 years after being retired, what level they really were on and what level you were on too?
Yeah.
I mean, you might have thought, I'm working for this, and you had a great work ethic and still humble, but do you look back on it now and say it was even more amazing and that it was unbelievable to be in that position?
Yeah, I do, because I guess when I got to the Hall of Fame and all of a sudden, you see all these guys that are from different teams, and all of a sudden you start to realize that how many guys that I was around.
Yeah.
I mean, from Gary Zimmerman, Randall McDaniel, to Chris Carter, Randy Moss, and then having Alan Page, Carl Eller, and going, how much history is in the Minnesota Vikings, and you just go, wow. And to me, it was just unbelievable that sometimes you almost think that I took it for granted, because there was all those such great players. But then I look back at it and I remember all the great plays and practice, how hard those guys were working, trying to achieve perfection. Because in football, watching film, everybody tries to grade out as an A+, but no one does. You get 98, 99. And I remember Jerry Rice talking about it. He goes, every day in practice and in the game, I was trying to grade out as an A+. He could, but I never could. And all of a sudden I think about it with Randy and Chris and Randall McDaniel, how in the games trying to be perfect, but we never were.
Yeah.
The NFL Network did a wonderful story on you of the NFL life, and one of the best parts in the whole thing, obviously, all the lovely things your wife says about you, and then all the things Brett Favre says about you. But I think my favorite part, other than the small part where I'm in it, other than that, I think the best part in it is when your old defensive line coach says, every day at practice, this is just a great life lesson. You wanted to go against the best on the planet to get as good as you could be and as good as you became, and you would only go against Randall McDaniel.
Yeah.
And I think that's just a great life lesson for kids. I mean, you can take the easy way, but
Sure.
you wanted to go against Randall McDaniel, and until you beat him, when you beat him, as he says, you arrived in the NFL.
Wow.
It's so true, because I would go in practice and I would beat some random guy and just go, okay, it doesn't matter, because he's not good like Randall McDaniel. And for life, you're going to have good days and bad days, but you have to keep going. And when those tough days come, you just have to just forge on. And that's the way I approach practice. And so I would go in practice and try moves on Randall McDaniel. And sometimes he would throw me down, push me down, but I would go, you know what? If it looked halfway decent on Randall, I knew it would be pretty much would work in the game, because I'm like, this guy right here is like perfection. He was so good and so quick. And so for me, every day it was just like I dreaded it, because I'm like, oh my God, I got Randall today. But I realized that what I was going to achieve by going against him every day in practice.
Hall of Famer versus Hall of Famer at practice every day. Do you still have, what kind of relationship do you have with Randall McDaniel now?
Oh my God, we play golf together.
Do you really?
Yeah,
do you give each other grief, or are you
we
you
do.
still kind of at it? Is there like, are you still competitive? Are you
Nah,
brotherly?
it's very brotherly.
Yeah.
And to me, he was like my big brother.
Yeah.
I can remember the first day in practice where I was going against somebody else and I was killing him. And all of a sudden I looked over and he had these white gloves and he was like, hey, come here.
Oh man.
And he tossed me down, knocked the wind out of me.
Ooh.
And I just jumped up and was like, let's go again.
Yeah.
But it was that type of relationship where he's a guy where I won't see him for, say, 6 weeks, and we'll go right back to the conversation that we were having six weeks ago. But he's a special guy. I was very fortunate to be around him, to get to know him. He used to let me, on game day, you're supposed to be at the stadium 2 hours early. Randall would get there 4 hours early, so I would tag along with him.
Man.
For every game that we played together, I was always going with him.
You made that video with Brett Favre for the Hyundai commercial.
Yeah.
I mean, that's something that you guys. I mean, I think if you guys put together a podcast, I think it'd be the most listened to podcast on the planet. But watching the two of you go back and forth, who you never played together.
No.
But the respect and the camaraderie that you two have is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously Brett Favre is one of my favorite players of all time, but watching you two go back and forth together was an amazing thing, and all the wonderful things he said about you was, it's so cool, that
Thank
video.
You. Yeah, it was, you know, when we were getting ready to do that, they was telling us it's going to take about 4 to 5 hours to shoot this thing.
Yeah.
And we were done like almost 2.5 hours. And so we were just sitting in the car, and we forgot that they were still filming.
Still rolling.
And we were just talking on and on and on. They were like, so we kind of rolled the windows down of this Hyundai Santa Fe, which was a nice car. We rolled the windows down, and we're like, are we done? They go, just keep talking. But for us, I think it was like two good old country boys who were just competing in the nearby towns against each other. And it was so much fun where, I say on game day, it was like, you know, you were talking trash to each other, but at the end of the day, you push all the dust off and just shake hands, and it was like so much of a mutual respect for it.
Do you remember the first time you sacked him?
Yeah, I do. I remember the first one. One of my favorite times was when he was running towards his left, and I knew that he couldn't throw the ball with his right hand.
Oh, so you're just...
So I'm right there on his heel, and all of a sudden, I'm trying to grab him, and he keeps trying to push out with the ball in his left hand.
And you're just...
And I'm just right on, and I stand up, I just step on his foot. And he just falls down. He's like trying to say, hey, Ralph. And I'm just like a kid in a candy store. Yes.
Did you Ric Flair over him?
No, I did not.
You had 137 and a half career sacks, and I don't have the stat directly in front of me, but I do know that Brett Favre is the quarterback that you sacked the most.
Yeah, I had him about 12 or 13 times.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's 137 and a half sacks as a defensive tackle.
Yes, the most ever for a tackle.
There's a lot in your career and in your life to be proud of, but that's unbelievable.
Yeah.
As a defensive tackle.
Number one for tackle, top 10 of sacks for anybody.
It's
And
unbelievable.
number one for tackle.
Thank you, yeah. That's inside. When you're inside, you're closer to the quarterback. But when you're inside, you got to deal more with the center.
Yeah.
And that, for me, was always very difficult, especially when we played the Packers, because they had a guy named Frank Winters. And Frankie was he's from New York, so he would come out and tell you, because a lot of times the center is supposed to slide different directions, and he would just tell me, I'm sliding towards you every play.
You're with it.
Every play.
Every single time.
Yeah.
Going back to what you had said before about practice and working hard and all those things of the work at showing up hours early. I read something, and I believe this was also in your NFL Films piece about your life. You almost quit football in high school because, now I understand there's a lot of stories where people come from a tough life or a different situation. Yours was so tough, and I want to see if this is true. You had to hitchhike your way home.
Yeah.
There could be nights where you're not even getting in your house till like 2 a.m. because nobody was going to give you a ride.
Yeah, that's true.
So you were just like, I can't play football because the logistics.
Yeah, it was really hard on me. I think for me, that was probably one of the hardest times ever for playing football, which was a game that I loved. Football to me was like, it was my hobby. It was my oxygen. But high school was so hard because we get done with practice, say 5:30, 6, and I would go down to this little grocery store, a gas station, and wait to find a ride. It was like 10 and 11 o'clock at 12 or 1. And sometimes there was a guy from my hometown who was on the band.
Yeah.
And every once in a while he would go home early because sometimes he had to go see his girlfriend.
Yeah.
But I had to wait, and they get done at 9 o'clock at night. So if he was going home, I would catch a ride with him. But man, what made it really hard, what really made it so hard was when I would get home at night, and then the next morning I get up and realize that I had to do everything all over again. And then the next day, and then like on Friday night when the game was over, it was the same thing. And so I really just thought that it wasn't the path for me, but my mom, I was so lucky to have a mom who told me, because I was thinking I wanted to hang out with my friends, and she said, you can hang out with your friends anytime, but you got to follow your dream. And she go, I believe that's your dream. And she said, that's your dream, right? I go, yeah, that's my dream, Mom. And I stuck with it, and so it was tough. I mean, I can remember so many times just sitting there, just at this gas station, man, watching my friends go home and come back, and go in the store and grab something to eat and go back home, and I'm still sitting there.
And I mean, you got one of the greatest stories of all time. And everything you do is, I mean, it makes a lot of people speechless. I mean, your story is unbelievable. The humility you showed towards everything and what you've accomplished in your life, and I know you're proud of it, but my God, this city has everybody should be so proud of you.
Yeah,
I mean that, man.
Absolutely.
You're I quit when the door in my apartment doesn't work. I mean, I've thrown Xbox controllers because I get mad.
Well,
everything you've done.
You walked away from your Dairy Queen job.
I've quit more jobs than most people have had. You're an unbelievable story, and you should be extremely proud of what you've
thank you. I think my wife, she's told me I'm very patient.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of it is just where I grew up. You grew up in the country. You got a lot of time on your hands, and so I'm like, you know what? I'm prepared to wait, and it's just, God puts opportunities in your way, and you just, as a guy, you just try to forge on. Nothing else you can do. Can't turn back. You got to keep going forward.
A lot of people can learn a lot from you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Let's say for picks, we all think that the Vikings are going to win. Playoff scenarios, you think that they pretty much have the 6th seed probably locked up? We're talking Carolina's going to sit Cam Newton.
Yep.
Washington, I think, is on their 3rd quarterback. Philly, we beat them head-to-head, so we got that tiebreaker. It seems like the 6th seed, I would put my money on the table saying the Vikings are going to get the 6th seed.
I think they get the 5th seed.
You think they move up?
I think Kansas City beats the Seahawks.
Yeah.
And the Vikings finish 9 and
6 and 1.
And they finish 9 and 7, and 9, 6 and 1's better.
Sure,
so
half game better.
The Vikings get the 5th seed.
So we'll be drawing Dallas according to your picks.
And they'll win.
All right.
I like it.
You like it? You think the 6th seed? You say once you make the playoffs, chip sharing a chance. That whole thing of it's better to get in. Don't worry about. Obviously, you can't get the home game, but you just got to be hot at the right time.
Yeah, got to be hot, and like I said, that Miami game, I think it really gave us a lot of confidence. But once you get in the playoffs, man, we all know that it's a different mentality, and we saw Dallas lose against Indianapolis. So
yes, nobody would have picked that.
Yeah.
All right. Special thanks to Mystic Lake for bringing John Randle. I hope that we can say that this is an annual tradition. I hope we can say that. You are a legend, and you are a great person. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure.
All right, that's going to do it for our show. We're going to see you back here next week.